Are the Carolina Hurricanes contenders or pretenders? We'll be talking about just that thing today. Now, before we start, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the Hockey Brigade if you like hockey. And let's talk about those Canes. So, Carolina, a team that has made a bunch of moves in the offseason, for better or worse, and some of those just were not great looks for the organization. They let Dougie Hamilton walk to a division rival. They traded a promising young goalie in Alex Nedeljkovic to Detroit because they didn't want to pay up for a pretty affordable deal, really. And then Peter Mrazek signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, in all that craziness, there were some things that they did snag. They got 32-year-old goalies to play in between the pipes, that being Frederik Andersen and Antti Raanta. And, there were some other things they got bare from Edmonton. And I think really the craziest thing that happened for them was they offer sheeted, we'll just go with offer sheeted Jesperi Kotkaniemi from the Montreal Canadiens for a 1-year, $6.1 million deal. We all know why it was done, they obviously have their reasons, but I really don't see how this was a good move. And they end up losing a first round and a third round pick, and they have to pay Kotkaniemi $6.1 million. It didn't make sense to me, but you know what, it's fine. On top of that, they leave a lot of questions for this team as they just couldn't re-sign Hamilton or Nedeljkovic, but they could sure pony up and give this young player, which I'm not going to hate on him, but they could give him over $5 million. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but he's not worth that kind of money just yet, if things don't progress. But it was a weird thing, and then, it's whatever. I'm not a GM, I've said that before, but it just doesn't make sense to me, and I think the Canes lost more than they gained. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is not what you want to see for a team that has some young stars making these kind of moves. I'm not saying that everything was the end of the world, but it was just weird. Now, hopefully the Caniacs can, have some good moves going forward, and we'll have to see. But there were some interesting moves. Now, speaking of interesting moves, we have to talk about a really interesting one here, that being Carolina picking up Tony DeAngelo. And Tony's a guy I've talked about on here before for the channel as being an extremely talented offensive defenseman, but he rubs some people the wrong way with his views, how he interacts with teammates, all that good stuff. I'm not here to talk about his beliefs or, take sides. That's not my job. My job is to talk about hockey, so we're going to ignore all that and just talk about him. Signing him could either be a major boost to the team because of his offensive game, or it could be a shot in the foot for the team. Losing, Hamilton is a big, big loss for Carolina. They're going to need some guys from the blue line to fill that hole. DeAngelo is a guy that could do that. That being said, I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe he could even be good enough to be a top pairing type guy for Carolina, or he could be on his way for another team or maybe even another league, depending on how this thing goes for them. This is one of those things, though, that I will say this could be a massive steal for Carolina in terms of how much they're paying him. Or it could be, one of those things that, hey, we look back at it and say, it didn't work. Some people weren't surprised. It is what it is. Now, finally, I talk about where the Canes stand in the East. So, you would probably think they'd still make the playoffs. They won their division last year, and I think I agree with that. I think they should make the playoffs, but making a deep run is a whole other topic. You have Tampa Bay, who is the back-to-back defending champion. While they have lost some pieces, are still a pretty darn good hockey team. And then you have other good teams like Boston, Florida, Toronto, most of the Metro. I'm not sure where they'll finish in the standings, but to me, I think there is at least 3 different teams that I'd say if you paired them up against Carolina, I'd take the other team. Not to say Carolina couldn't do it, because we saw a Montreal team that wasn't exactly world beaters make it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, but I do think there are better teams in the East than Carolina. And with that being said, they do have some big names on their roster, but do I view them as a contender or a pretender? I don't want to say pretender is a bad thing, but I don't view them as a true contender, okay? I view them as a team that could win a round 2, maybe even get there, but at the end of the day, unless they didn't get some good breaks in the playoffs, I couldn't see them being a true contender. I see them being a good regular season team that, can win in the playoffs, but maybe doesn't get to be a contender for the years to come. We'll have to see how it goes. But one thing I'm really excited to watch out for are guys like Anderson. Anderson is a guy that was drafted by Carolina back in the day, and he played for Anaheim, and he played pretty big games for them there. Never mind, my wife's in the background. And then we have Toronto, where things didn't work out. But yeah, he is a guy that I have just really supported for most of my career. His career, excuse me. But yeah, if he could win a cup, that'd be great. Then you have Ethan Bear. He is a pretty likable guy in the NHL. I know a lot of people seem to like the type of player he is, the type of person he is. If he could play a big role for them, then they could be in a great spot to repeat as division champs, as they have plenty of players that are, big name guys that will look to keep going. Now, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes, but I'm looking forward to it. Do you think Carolina is a contender or a pretender? Let me know down below. Also, before we finish this out, I just wanted to say we got a new little thing here. This is Gussie the turkey. Got him the other day. We were headed to Hobby Lobby. He looks like he was hit up by the Terminator or hit with a flamethrower. But hey, I saw him and I saw his face wasn't perfect, and I thought, Gussie is not going to get somebody to buy him. I have to take him. I have to give him a home. So we got a turkey there. He was like $5, so it was all right there. But if you would like to comment down below the other two names of these two pieces, this one right here and that one, we might, I don't know, we'll figure out something to make it worth your while. But yeah, let me know the names of those down below. Also, if you like this video, then yeah, I messed that up, but that's fine. Everybody, subscribe, stay safe, have a great night. You go love hockey, all right? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.